Hey everyone, this is Cardfight, finally coming at you with a new standard match. Today we have myself on the left playing my Magnolia build, post set 9, and on the right we have my teammate Ryuki playing Unica. So once again we are going to be seeing the Magnolia, seeing what it can kind of do. As if you remember from my deck build, if you saw the profile, this is the grade 3 build of Magnolia. And now I'm actually just realizing that Ryuki is not playing Unica. In fact, he is playing Drajeweled, another deck. He just wipes the floor with me with extra criticals. Anyways, we are going to be seeing him right into the Jewel Core, calling out the Phallicate, actually discarding the grade 4 Bruce, which is an interesting check for Drajeweled. Definitely works. Of course, it is kind of like a dead card, but it's basically just there for that extra utility. As we can see, the Phallicate, it's basically a card that can, you know, always be put into the soul. Anyways, going back to me, I am going to get a defensive here. Not that it really matters, because this is the first turn and all we're swinging with is just the Vanguard. So riding into that lattice off the carrots, we are going to be calling a Drawcher, which is pretty typical for the deck. I mean, 9 times out of 10 you're going to be getting a critical. Drive checking into a nothing, just a what's his name, Daimanaru. Going to be riding into the Jewel Neil, calling out the Jewel Core. So definitely that booster behind the Vanguard is very annoying, because it means that I either commit a lot of shield value to guard the Vanguard, or I want to pass it. But we are going to be swinging the 13, and I'm going to decide to block with the 15, which normally would have gone to blocking the Vanguard, but obviously I don't want to risk it. And unfortunately, we are going to be seeing a heal trigger come out here from the Vanguard swing, so healing down to 0, definitely not what you want to be seeing when you're in a multi-attack deck. There might have been a small argument to actually like take the Jewel Core, but in that case I would have had to like take the Jewel Neil, and I really just don't want to be at 3 at this point, especially since we're playing against Drajeweled, which can get crit, so you want to be at lower damage so that you can just soak up a lot more of these swings when you're at 1. But we are going to be seeing a double Doyo Goat here, or Goyo Do. I always confuse with letters. Basically putting 1 into soul blasting it to call the crit trigger, and then putting the other one to soul to give Magnolia an extra 5k. So a total of 10k with the 2 Goyo Dotes. Going to be seeing a Wild Intelligence milling 2 cards, as well as I think that was like a heal trigger or something. I might have missed it, but I know it was a trigger of some sort. Calling back an Inlet Pulse and the Goyo Dote that was sent to the drop zone. So we are going to be getting 2 draws off this turn. Unfortunately, we don't really have that great of a board. We do kind of have to commit some things. We're going to be committing that Daimanaru, soul blasting out the Goyo Dote to give the 5k to the Goyo Dote in the back row, meaning that we can actually save on that counter blast. We can save it for next turn. Swing the Inlet Pulse Dragon, unfortunately going to be hitting into a defensive trigger, but thanks to the extra 5k from the Goyo Dotes, this is going to be hitting, so we're going to drive check nothing and a critical trigger, so getting the crit to Vanguard and power to Daimanaru. Maybe there was a bit of a there might have been some logic to not giving the critical and just making it a 1 damage swing, and then putting the crit to another attacker, because we are going to be seeing a second defensive coming down here, meaning the Doyo Goat is going to be able to swing for, I believe it is only 25 right now, so it's not going to hit, and the other Daimanaru is going to be a 24. Probably should have given the power to just the Goyo Dote so that it would hit over a defensive, just in case that happened, but I think that it was fine to just give it to the Daimanaru, because then Daimanaru would be able to hit, assuming we didn't get a defensive. But like I said, if I'd maybe just given the critical to either the Daimanaru or the Doyo Goat, I would have put on a little bit more pressure, as well as kind of making it harder for him to hit defensives. But anyways, going into this first Drajeweled turn, calling out a Rocky Gore, calling a Guggen Ram, soul charging, and deciding to use the skill actually to soul blast the 3 to draw a card. Probably just going to be digging for some more combo pieces. I believe we called another Guggen Ram. I'm going to be calling it out and putting a Phallicate behind it. Actually, before we do that, we're deciding to use the Drajeweled skill. Unfortunately, we don't really have any swirlers on board, so we're not really getting too much advantage outside of the draw, which we did get that because we had a 0 and a 1. Swinging for the Rockagore, which is at 20. Because I'm at grade 3, I believe, is the condition to meet that. So, unfortunately, my hand is not really looking the greatest at this point, if I recall. I think I have like 2 Persona Rides in hand, which is great and all, but when you're trying to defend yourself, you really don't want to be holding onto those grade 3 cards. So, I'm kind of looking to save as much shield as possible here. I am only at 2, so I'm going to have to kind of basically conserve my guard, and unfortunately I did not draw into a perfect guard. We're going to be seeing a little bit of the utility of the grade 4 Bruce here, counterblasting the 1 to stand the Rockagore, and then of course using the Falcon to reset the soul, so that we'll probably have our setup for next turn, swinging to a Rising Dragon, as well as what was that card? It's a new one that works on Persona Ride. Thankfully, I'm going to be hitting a double defensive here. So going down to 1 and going to 20 and 1. Unfortunately, as you saw, I did have to take the Vanguard attack for 2 crit, guarding the Rockagore, which is at 38. So I still do have to guard that for 10k. But we are going to be seeing my Persona Ride here. So this is going to be my really big push turn. I do have, unfortunately, I don't have very many defensives. I do have the Drajeweled to give my Vanguard an extra 5k, making that really nice 28 magic number. So I do have to push very hard here. I do have the potential for the 6 attacks, and of course Ryuki is at 3, so being able to push those 3 attacks through is definitely feasible, depending on triggers and what's in his hand. But there are a lot of cards in Ryuki's hand, as you can see. It's a pretty fat stack, but we'll see what we can do and if we can actually make it work. We're doing another Wild Intelligence to set up milling the Sayroll, a Persona Ride, and a heal trigger. Not too bad of mills, kind of sucks hitting the Persona Ride, but at this point I think I do have another one ready. Calling out the Drajeweled as well as the Daimanaru, using the Daimanaru skill to pump up the Drajeweled, as well as letting it attack from the back row, which, as I said in the deck profile, means that now Daimanaru can be selected by Magnolia's skill, since I don't need to actually commit the extra 5k to another unit to attack from the back row. Calling down another Daimanaru as well as the Alpin, using the skill to give 5k to the Sayroll, meaning that I can select the remaining 3, the 2 Daimanarus as well as the Alpin, to attack from the back row, meaning that all these attacks are going to be hitting for over 28, which is going to be a 20k guard for almost all of them. And because I can now swing with the Sayroll, I'm going to be swinging with it first because it is the weakest attack at a 23, which still is calling for a 15k guard. So all these swings are currently hitting for like 15 plus attack or 15 plus k guard. So even though we have a very big hand, the feasibility to guarding this is much lesser. Drive check 1, nothing, and drive check 2, nothing. And unfortunately hitting into a very clutch defensive there. So I'm going to be at 23. These 20k guards are now becoming just 10k guards. The Alpin swinging for, I believe, 30 as well. Alpin binding itself, counterblast, countercharging 1 and soul charging 1, and then the Goat swinging for a 35. So that defensive trigger there was pretty clutch, because if we had not hit that, as I said, those all would have been 20k guards. And unfortunately, of course, I didn't hit into either. You saw I didn't draw into a PG, and I didn't actually hit into any triggers, so my defensive options are definitely limited. But we are going to be starting off with a Persona Ride, calling out, gosh, I'm totally blanking on that guy, just wiping my board. Such a good card. Oh god, I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. I'm sure I'll remember it later. But this is basically looking like it. I think I have like 4 or 5 cards in hand. No PGs. I am at 4 also, so I kind of do have to just guard this 30k swing. Just going to be using the Drajeweled skill, putting myself at 1. So I basically don't really have a chance. As you can see, I only have 3 cards hand. No PGs, meaning that I do have to take this Vanguard swing. Just hope for a heal, hitting into a critical trigger, which is just going to seal up the deal. Anyways, that's going to be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and go do all those YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.